Good evening, friends. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Dr. Prashant.
At the outset, let me welcome you all for my YouTube channel, and we are very privileged to have you on this day, and particularly where we are talking on social work intervention research.
Yeah.
Dear friends, as you all know that we have a very basic methods of social work, that is social work research in the primary method, in the secondary method, and particularly all the primary methods, casework, group work, and community organizations,
Yeah.
and other three secondary methods are also working successfully.
Yeah.
But one method today we have taken for discussion, that is social work research.
Yeah.
And from my point of view, India is doing best in all other methods, and particularly when we are discussing about social work research as a method of social work. So comparatively, we have taken backseat with reference to the developed countries,
Yeah.
or where we have attempted to develop the social work education point of view.
Very true. Very true.
So in this context, today we have with us Professor D.K. Laldas, having 30 years of experience in social work education, and now he is also a very good research educator for the nation. And we have spent more than 30 decades, and particularly 20 decades in social work research, having more than 33 articles published, having more than 30 research papers presented across the globe, and visited many countries, and he is the most preferred social work educator when it comes to the matter of social work research. I think recently you have read his book on social work intervention research. So today our talk is purely based on that particular area, that is about social work intervention research. So before going to the point, let us have some basic discussion about that. So as per your experience, what is the status of social work research in India?
Yeah, Professor, first of all, I would like to submit to your audience, those who are viewing it, that it's a very sad to see that we are lagging behind the whole world about 50 years. And in the development of research, if you see, we started with survey, then we have descriptive research, then experiment, and further, if you see the global picture, they have gone much beyond experimental research. That is now the intervention research. In social work curriculum, all over the developed countries, now they have taken seriously for the last 30 years. In 90s, they introduced intervention research, and they have gone ahead in doing, and mostly their researches today are based on intervention method. Unfortunately, in our country, it was initiated by social scientists, and they thought that time that the social workers also can use social science research, and it continued, and people didn't give serious thought that how far social science research help social workers. I had some opportunity with UGC assignment, something which they asked that to develop literature on social work research, and then I reviewed that why we are lagging behind, why we are not able to implement social work. So only few people, just for discussion's sake, they use this term social work research, but in practice, even today, if you take most of the universities, the title is social work research, but it is taught as a social research, simply social science research.
Okay, friends, so Professor Laldas is mentioning that so we have still 50 years of space to advance ourselves, particularly in social work research, when we compare ourselves with the developed countries. And as you said, that this is one method where we have to gear up and see that all methods of social work will work. And when we discuss about other countries, we say that all other countries, Stanford, Oxford, and many other universities, they are doing the best at their level. So when we come to the point of India, so the reason is that, so we have some conceptual confusion. That as sir mentioned about the social scientists initiating the social research, and particularly when social work took over in 1936, particularly on the initiation of Tata Institute. So we have some conceptual clarity, that is how social work research is different from social science research. So can you throw upon your light on this particular
that's a
clarity?
very important question you have raised, Professor Parashuram, that we didn't give a serious thinking about over this two concept. I can say that the educators, they were not serious about these two concepts. They took it as a similar concept. So they never tried to find out that what is some special steps or methods for social work research, and so they continued with the social science research. So now I'll just present in very simple words, that social work research, when you talk, the term refers to application of research methods. We do apply all social science research methods, but we say that we use it to develop very knowledge which is very specific to social workers, particularly the knowledge which helps us to improve the practice, make the practice more effective. That makes a very significant difference between social science research and social work research. Social science research is a theoretical aspect. You get the information, analyze it, and you add in your knowledge. It's totally different. We are focused, we are very much concerned about the practice, because ours is a practice profession. So research, social work research is exclusively for improving the practice, making practice more effective. So that makes social science research very different from social science research.
That means social work research, you want to say that this is purely based on the practice philosophy.
Right.
So where we have to enrich our knowledge to develop the methods, particularly intervening between casework, group work, and community organization. Right. Developing the content or developing knowledge, or to create a new knowledge where we can focus and we can contribute more from a social point of view. So then, in just simple terms, what is your definition of social work research?
Yeah, I'll repeat. Which is, I have studied the various literature in the Western countries on social work research, and then I thought that I can present a very simple definition so that our educators can grasp it. So it's based on many of the research books, but I have coined this, and which in simple words I will tell you that it is, we say that social work research is the application of research methods to generate knowledge which is used to improve the practice of social work.
Okay.
That's only. So we are very specific that we will study only those things which will generate knowledge, which will help us in making practice more effective. Simple words.
Yes, friends, so you know that Professor Laldas is very clear that if you want to make it more practicing profession, so there must be some research supportiveness which can simplify the process of social work. And now when we are purely practice-based profession, so intervention becomes very line of the light.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So now we want to say that how intervention makes the best practice,
or
how practice can help us in intervention.
Yeah.
So with this context, as Sir was mentioning that the developed countries have already advanced 50 years by developing the intervention concept. So like that in Karnataka, particularly in India, so we have a lot of opportunities, particularly for intervention.
That's
if we take medical and psychiatric social work, so we have 100% scope for intervention. When we take up social development or community development, we have 100% scope of intervention. And even as our good old practice like personal memory, industrial relation, human resource management, there also we have a lot of possibilities about social work intervention. So from this point of discussion, so what exactly you say about social work intervention research?
Yeah, I'll sorry. Before I explain you the social work interventions, that's an advanced form of social work research, I must tell you. But I will tell you about this little later. One thing which I forgot to mention while I was explaining you social work research, that it is making practice more effective. One point I could experience that our fieldwork practice is without any evidence. We do fieldwork, serious fieldwork, but we cannot say it is our practice is a scientific practice. So I got from the literature that to make fieldwork practice in social work scientific, we have to integrate research and fieldwork. Then you can generate the evidence that what you are doing in practice will be valid and authentic. Now, this, when you think of this thing, that social work research as tool for making practice scientific, then the concept of social work intervention research comes. So that is the origin of social work intervention research. That means now in social work research we have many things, like say it can be program evaluation, it can be service evaluation, what NGOs are doing and all. But social work intervention is again a specialized branch of social work research which mostly concentrate on the effectiveness of intervention at the very first level. Then if you go to the higher level, then it has some methods or some techniques by which you can compare the two intervention. Even highest level we can go and we can innovate new intervention. So social work intervention research is important because of these few points. One, making the practice scientific. Number two, you can go to advanced level, you can compare two intervention, two skills and say that which intervention is more effective. Then when advanced level you go, that many practices we have in social work, but that is not recognized as social work practice. So now if you take up research, if you can take up research, social work intervention research, it can help you to prove that this is some new intervention. We call it innovative intervention. This is the advantages. Now, this is the background. So, taking all these things together, one branch from social work research has developed, particularly in Western countries. Now, even the titles of the paper is now social work intervention research. You hardly find, that social work research. That was 20 years ago.
Even we have redesigned our syllabus based on your book, that is social work intervention research.
Yes, that is now today the trend all over the world. Globally, you will be on par with the global approach of social work. So, social work intervention research. Now, I'll try to put it in a very simple way. Again, it is application of research methods focused to assess effectiveness of intervention.
Okay.
Yeah. So now it is very focused now. Social work research was a very broad area where you have many action research, you can have evaluation research, all those things were there. But now a branch has come up. Abroad, you will be surprised to know that all postgraduate researches is a compulsory that they should have intervention research. The evaluation and all those things are not that accepted only at that postgraduate level. Higher doctoral and postdoctoral level, one has to learn and practice social work intervention research only. And now, in a very simple words, we say it is again application of research methods, that is all common. And now here we say again, and this again I am repeating it, that social work intervention research focuses on assessment of effectiveness of the practice. Yeah.
Okay, friends, so Professor Laldas mentioned that social work intervention research is going to be a new discipline in particular social work research. And maybe we have to accept this. Why? Because when you look at our library, the bundle of research projects presented there, dissertations, the PhD theses, and when you compare ourselves with the countries like Israel, Japan, China, Russia. So if you look at their lot, maybe around 93% to 95% success rate they may have in finding in implementing the outcomes what they have mentioned.
Yeah.
So in that way, so they may have developed or they may have designed such intervention where their thesis will completely go to the community and they can generate the knowledge, they can give the intervention methods which can develop the community. In that way, sir is mentioning that social work intervention research is one of the biggest disciplines what he could observe. So once again, as we said that why we are losing the pace in international race is purely to say that so we are not designing the content as per the contemporary situation. So here at all levels, in the sense we can say the post-graduation students or the MPhil students or the PhD students or the NGOs which are funded by the organization or the industries where they want to improve the quality of productivity, where we can see that the people who come with the medical psychiatry, social work background or in the fields of medical psychiatry, social work. So more than the requirement, so if you practice intervention research, that can be very useful. So in that way, let us go for the next point, that is, sir, intervention itself is a big concept.
Yeah.
So at what level you want to propose for this intervention method?
See, in general, I'm talking that, and I personally feel that it should be at all levels. You should initiate even at the undergraduate level.
At the simplest form.
Yeah, simplest form. That's right. You are exactly what I wanted
From
to say.
graduation till
PhD. Graduation, undergraduate level, make it in a very simple form, but they must be told at that beginning point, at the beginning of their personal career, that it should be, our research should be practice-based research. And practice-based research means what intervention you learn and practice must be validated by doing research. So you start from there, then slowly you can add various specialized techniques, tools, methods in postgraduate level. And then when you take it to doctoral level and all, it can be a full-fledged, you can apply almost all the statistical application, the test for the validity and authenticity, that can be at a doctoral level. And you see, undergraduate level, they can compare the effectiveness using mean and standard deviation. At postgraduate level, you can say, okay, you apply t-test. But if they go to the postgraduate level, you can train them that you should go for non-parametric tests like Wilcoxon test, which is a very appropriate test for our practice-based research. So now we use, all the like Wilcoxon or Mann-Whitney test to see the difference and see the, dependence. All we use that very specialized test, and that is very suitable for our practice-based research. So this all levels, but at different capsule you have to make, different module you have to make.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in this way, my request is that what is your suggestion for the students community who is going to make it more intervention based?
Yeah.
And what is your suggestions to the social work educators who are going to make the students for intervention?
Yeah. That is one which I have emphasized.
Let us take one UG as an example.
Yeah.
If a BSW student is going to implement, because social work research intervention means let us limit only for BSW, bachelor's in social work.
Right. Yeah.
So for them, what is your suggestion?
I have already explained it in my recent book, Social Work Intervention Research. I'll share with you. I'm very happy to share with you that I have introduced one concept that our fieldwork and research must be integrated. That is the major suggestion for all levels and all teachers.
Yeah.
And the moment you think in that direction, automatically you will be able to do research as well as you will strengthen your practice fieldwork.
Okay. Can you just propose one small example?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Now, I'll take example from postgraduate level. See, postgraduate level, when you place your student in the community or any setting, now you orient them about the social work intervention research, and simply you say, you start your fieldwork by having the baseline data of the problem which you are interested. You are interested in, say for example, domestic violence, for example. So now, before you start your practice with this target group, domestic violence, now you try to find out who are the victims of the domestic violence in the community, list it, and start keeping the data, baseline, and make it a baseline data. And then you start your fieldwork. As per your guidelines and all, you go, what is your goal, aim, you practice intervention and all those things. And once your fieldwork is about to complete, again you try to measure that to what extent you have been successful in making domestic violence aware of the law and all those things. And then you compare the data, and this will become your research project. This will be researched, and you can submit your fieldwork report. So both can go together. That is the thing I am proposing, to make the task very simple. So day one, they go to the fieldwork, they should be ready that I am also supposed to assess intervention. Earlier what is happening, at present what is happening, you send your student, train for intervention, they do intervention, they narrate, and you evaluate and give the marks. This train should be now completely changed. No narration. You insist that you show the evidence, what you are doing, what intervention you are doing, how successful you were, and that the research data can be shown in the fieldwork supervision, that look, what I am saying that I am successful in my intervention to this extent. This is our value, this is our statistical data and all, and I can say that, confidently I can say that there is now improvement in the attitude of victims of domestic violence. I think it's this simple. And if possible, we can start with BSW, but BSW, I don't know whether they will be able to take up this integration, because two tasks for those people, whether it is possible, that you have to decide.
No, actually in BSW what is that
Ah.
first year and particularly first semester they have orientation visits,
Right.
and then slowly they shift into the fieldwork mode.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, so it can be a good content for the PG student. From PG level, this can be more intervention.
PG level definitely.
Yeah.
Because they study here all the even social work intervention in detail, so they will be able to do practice. Undergraduate level will be giving you very preliminary information or intervention. So it will be difficult for them to integrate both.
Yes, friend.
Yeah.
So, as we could understand by the words of Professor Laldas, that a student's orientation towards fieldwork must be the baseline. If you are very serious field worker, where you could do the best part of your field work and where you have the knowledge of research, developing the content of field work plus relating your field work plus the social work or the research area what you are focusing. So that can be one of the best.
Yeah.
But sir, our students are doing best in the sense in general social work students.
Yeah.
Recently in one of my public talk, our student raised the doubt by telling that, sir, can we use ChatGPT AI for fieldwork report? ChatGPT and AI. ChatGPT and AI.
What
So
is that?
ChatGPT, it is a content which is going to give majority of your information what you require.
Uh-huh.
And AI can also help us in getting the data. So because they are going to limit their analytical skills, writing skills, descriptive
I
attitude.
think I differ.
So in such a mindset they have.
To my mind, I think we should not. Our focus should be that as a teacher, we should or we must strengthen them in social work intervention skills. So they should be master of that.
Exactly.
Instead of taking help of that kind of thing.
Technology.
Because they have made it for their own purpose. But here we are very clear that our student must learn what is rapport building skill. And they should expertise in that. Communication skill, organizing skill. So our student, instead of taking that help, what you teach in the methods of social work, that should be again linked with the social work intervention research. And use that method. And through that only you collect the data and process.
So, what can be the role of a social work educator in motivating students towards intervention focused?
Yeah. So here I will start another very new point, very interesting point, that social work educators or research educators, if you take in particular, he has to be trained. All research educator must be trained now in teaching a paper which is skill-oriented paper. Research is skill-oriented paper. It is different from history, philosophy, and social work, different from psychology, different from individual and society. So we cannot teach research, social work, intervention research, just by blackboard and chalk. The part of the teaching must have the practical sessions. That I want to launch, and every social work educator should be trained in this way, that you must teach, say maybe half, 60% you teach by theoretical level, the 40 or 50% should be by practical sessions.
Yeah.
For example, we teach how to make questionnaire, and we leave them and we expect that they will make a good tool. It's impossible. What should be that you organize a workshop of 3 hours and you invite 1 or 2 research person who is locally available to monitor that group, and you say that, okay, now I want you to develop a tool for say juvenile delinquents in the community. Let them start and you give them help by taking questionnaire which is already used by the research scholars. Show them, look, this is a questionnaire, the books are there, Uday Parikh book on tool is there, you show them, and then that whole class can be divided into 3 groups. And you give the task, okay, you develop a tool for juvenile delinquency, you develop a tool for domestic violence, you develop a tool for maladjustment in the family. And then give the exercise, help them to develop questions, say 20, 30 questions, then you explain that what questions should be and all those things. If you follow this process, they will learn exactly what research is. So this is the one topic. There are many other topics. Sampling, suppose you want. You give the demonstration. Many topics are there which needs demonstration or practical assignment. Hypothesis, for example. They pass postgraduate, and then that time also they don't know how to formulate hypothesis, how to have objectives. Now, these are the courses which had to be the practical sessions. So, a research educator, in my previous first year, when he teaches the topic like this, say objective of the research. Now, after just teaching for 10 minutes, make them into group and say that, look, this is the problem, socio-economic status of slum dwellers. Now, what objectives you can find out? Let them identify. Then you explain, this objective is good, this is not good and all. They will learn about identifying objectives. Then teaching hypothesis, you teach 1 hour like that. Then have a practical session and say that, look, this is the topic. Now you develop hypothesis. Sit, learn. And I'm very sure that they will learn the research. So this change has to be brought.
Okay, so you were very clear that the core knowledge of social work, the domain knowledge of social work, related to field work, related to core domain, field work research, and then designing the package of intervention, and seeing that social work intervention research will be experimented. So this is one set of
yes, that's true.
So, sir, can you explain the knowledge required for the statistical information?
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing you have asked. That's my very loved one, loved area of my research. And I could experience in beginning of my teaching, when I started teaching, and many students expressed the view that why social workers should study all chi-square or t-test and all, because they need to learn how to help the people.
It's a one-time settlement they feel.
So why you are not insisting on learning the helping people, and you are doing this is job of a statisticians. Then I could understand the point. And then I developed, the kind of module, for teaching statistics, special module. That is, I have mentioned in my book also that teacher has to use consumer's approach. They have to explain the consumer's approach. Consumer's approach is very simple. Now you have gadgets, electronic gadgets, and most of the buyers, they don't know about it. But they are very frequently they use those gadgets. Like you see the smart TV today. It's a very highly advanced, but anybody can use, even the child can use. Researcher or social work researcher, I understand all over the world, it's not only India or Karnataka, the students who join, mostly they are very poor in mathematics. We have to take.
Yes.
Then we have to teach in a very special way. That is,
and in simple way.
Simple way.
Yeah.
That is, 3 things should be highlighted. Instead of today's traditional way of teaching, calculation and all teaching, they just see and it is for the examination, nothing else. But what I say that it should be taught what is a test, what is a procedure, when it is used, how it can be calculated using the computer. And most important is you teach them how to interpret that result. That is more important. Today, a student can calculate chi-square, but he will not be able to interpret it. It's meaningless. In consumer's approach, we emphasize on what is the test. Simple. We'll explain why t-test is used. Then we say that, okay, how to get it through software. Softwares are available today. Remember that our students are not the students of statistics. Say they don't need to learn how to calculate what is the formula and all. This is meaningless, waste of time. You teach them through SPSS. In SPSS, first of all you teach what is t-test. Then you say that, okay, this is the steps in SPSS. Do this, and you will get. You must learn how it is to be interpreted in the practical example you give. And say that this is the test, you get the result, and then now you must learn how to interpret it. So focus should change now. Your teaching things should be completely now remodeled.
Yeah.
Then only they can become a good researcher. Western countries, I have inquired, I have found the fact that not a single university social work teacher teaches the statistics. They're simply there, if you ask them to calculate mean or standard, they'll say, I don't know. But you ask, what is cluster analysis? They will tell you, this is cluster analysis, this is factor analysis, and this is used like this. So their students are able to do very good research.
Yeah.
We have to change the focus. You have to introduce in your department, in Karnataka, you tell them that, or better you organize one workshop for them, teaching research and statistics, where they should be taught what is required today.
Yes.
Using software, getting the results, and most important thing is that how to interpret the result.
Result.
That's all.
Okay, so friends, the message is that, and the appeal for both the teachers and students is that. So let us have a power-packed module, what we can say, the domain knowledge of social work, particularly relating the domain knowledge to the field work, and then relating the intervention, particularly in terms of social work research, and then particularly leaning towards creating a new knowledge for social work domain. This is what Sir exactly wanted to mention. And the thing is that how it is that if you relate the intervention based, not exactly in the name of social work research, in third and fourth semester, this intervention can be part of field work or can be, we have some 80 marks in the field work. If you reserve some 20 marks for social work intervention research in third semester, fourth semester, just to give credit for a student, or 50% of that, because it can be incentive for the student.
Right. I mean, in some university, this is there. I have come to know that as a fieldwork curriculum, practicum, they have a small project, where they should collect data and just submit it. That is just to inculcate the quality of, data collection and all, encourage them. And what is called evidence-based fieldwork.
Research, yeah. Fieldwork.
Yeah.
Evidence-based fieldwork.
Fieldwork. That is, in the Western countries, they insist on it, that you must train the students so that they should not just only inform you, I have done this, I have done that. Train them that you have done it, fine, but what is the output? So let it be in the form of a small kind of, mini project like that. So that will help them to be more familiar with the research.
So in fourth semester they have project.
Yeah.
In third semester there can be a mini project.
Small, related to fieldwork issues only.
Yeah, but the commitment of teacher and the student is very much important.
Very important. That is.
And the second point, Professor was mentioning about the evidence-based.
Yeah.
How the evidence-based research or intervention research differs in normal settings.
Yeah, evidence-based research is that.
Or to prove the evidence, we have to go for intervention.
Right. You have to conduct the research. That's called evidence-based research.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, friends, so now also the one more concept what we raised is that Professor was mentioning about evidence-based research, and to prove the evidence, he proposed that it can be intervention. So, to prove your evidence, intervention research can also be a set of evidence which can be set for the students.
Yeah. Earlier, the evidence-based research, intervention research was called as evidence-based research earlier. Today it's a social work intervention because the results are evidence. What you get the result, that is evidence for your research.
Okay, so but our core strength should be designing the intervention.
Right.
How best we design the intervention, and if you are going to be the person who is going to experiment the intervention, the result can be evidence.
Yeah, that is evidence.
Evidence.
Proof.
Yes.
What you are doing, you are proving that this is my proof.
Yes. So this is one thing, sir. And as you were telling about the other countries.
Yeah.
But in Indian context, right from the beginning, so we have some specializations like. So we were known for PM and IR, and we were known for medical psychiatry, social work, and we are known for community settings. So how can we work in all these specializations?
That's very right. I mean, we have a very peculiar situation here that we are continuing HR, human resource development as a specialization of the social work. That's also okay. There's nothing wrong in it. It's our requirement, our need of our country. So we'll go ahead with that. And intervention research is very easy in the HR sector, I'll tell you, which many people feel we cannot do. We can do it. For example, you take group of absentees in the factory, and you can work with the absentees, have a pre-measurement, what is the rate of absentees, then you make package using the social work techniques so that they can be regular. Motivation, counseling, explaining the effect of absenteeism, career, family, everything. A social worker can do very well. Then again you measure after your 2 months, 3 months of counseling of the 15, 20 people who are chronic absentees. And if you can show them so that the chronic absenteeism rate has come down, you can take the credit of social work intervention. Other specialization, it is automatic, it's inbuilt.
In the
First of all, medical and psychiatric social work. All field work practice, intervention research can be done, excellent researches can be done. Then family and child, also there is no problem, you can have it. Only problem with the HR, so I have explained you. Because the other day in Pune University, they had big chunk of the students doing HR. So they said, how I can do it? So I said, you must change your attitude first. You are not a management student. You are human resource based, having the basic support of the social work. Think in that term, that as a social work knowledge you have, how you can do the best in the HR. So same thing, you have also HR. So first of all, you change the attitude that, so look, you are not a management student. So think that how industrial problems, floor problems can be sorted out with your skill, your social work skills.
Yes.
Accident proneness is there, absenteeism is there, maladjustment is there, some group fighting will be there. These all things are very good topics for the social work student who are in the HR field.
Yes, so right from productivity, profitability, employability, so all those things can be mentioned in the research. Yes.
Can be research, but what I want that
intervention.
Intervention should be there, and also once you think of productivity and all, I mean, it will be difficult for the intervention because your intervention may not affect the productivity. So I want you to reorient the student. Instead of productivity and all, take motivation, how to uplift the motivation level using social work techniques. That should be our job satisfaction. How social work techniques can help the employees to have their higher job satisfaction. Job commitment, work commitment. All those things can be taken up as research for the social work student doing HR. And they can very well show, within no time they can show that, look, using our skills, their work commitment has gone up.
Yes, so friends, the thing is that Professor is very clear that in all the three specializations in general, that is about medical and psychiatric social work, community development and industries,
even community development,
and particularly just I could remember that in my recent visit to a hospital, so there is a person called as intervention radiologist.
Surgery.
So and I could have interaction with him and I could see that how important you are in the procedure. He said that sir, now everything is intervention based, and actually he was employed for intervention particularly during surgery.
Okay.
So during procedure. So even intervention radiologist was called for a place where the vein of the patient was not found properly to give the injection. So finally intervention experts were called. Within 15 minutes problem was solved. So that is the power of intervention. Now radiology was there. So friends, we could see, which we could track. From X-ray we move towards the other developments, other technologies. And now we have intervention radiologists. If you could see the super specialty high-tech hospitals.
Yes.
And especially when you think about the medical and psychiatric social work, we have a greater role. Because now there are many issues which are upcoming in cancer treatment, like that we can say neuro-oncology. And recently we could see a lot of accidents taking over, the accident rate is increasing, and the brain injuries are has become rampant in accidents. So there we can see or we can prove our intervention in that. Along with that, suicide is very inclusive in that, and particularly addiction is going to be more. So like that, in every set of understanding, we could see the requirement of intervention. And even a small attempt, even from casework method till the community organization, we could pack our intervention. And even in HR also, you mentioned about the intervention. It may be social welfare administration, industry, industrial social work.
Because see, I have a logic for that. Again, I'll repeat for you that you have to see that in which field you are a specialist. You are not a management student. You are not a specialist in accounting. Profit loss depends on accounting, profit, stock market, productivity depends on engineering, technology and all. All those things you have to learn. Then only you can do research. So I am suggesting that better you do research for which you are trained. 1 year you are trained in social work skills. Use social skills for all the like motivation or their work commitment, job satisfaction you could do. So that's the change.
Yes. So in the same discussion, so maybe a lot of teachers will be watching this video. So they may raise a doubt by telling that how intervention research is different from practice-based research. Can you clarify this about the difference between intervention and practice-based research?
There's no difference, Professor. Earlier it was practice-based research. Earlier it was before 90s. So people started with practice-based research. And then their intervention, where they were not very serious about intervention, they were serious about the practice only. So they concentrated how we can do the best practice. So the improvement came during 90s that we are not just doing some practice. Practice is something you have learned and you want to practice. So they changed the whole nomenclature. They said that no, you have to see what you are going to do and how its effect will come up and how we measure the intervention, effect of intervention. So then came the concept of social work intervention. So both are almost same, you can say. There cannot be social work intervention without practice. So social work intervention research is basically practice-based research.
Yes,
I hope you are
great.
getting.
Yeah.
So there is nothing like, it's not a different concept. Earlier this was the name. Now it is social work intervention research.
Okay. So
Yeah.
practice-based research is advanced to
No.
social work.
Other way around.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it is earlier concept.
Mhm.
Practice-based research is earlier concept, and today it is social work intervention. Because you have to understand the meaning of practice. Practice is something you have learned, you want to practice that. Intervention is that while you practice intervention, you are measuring the intervention effect. So practice is taking little backseat.
Mhm.
Though totally it's a practice, but now we are focusing on our effectiveness of the intervention.
Okay, so regarding this practice point of view,
Yeah.
particularly
Yeah.
integrating fieldwork and integrating social work intervention,
Research, yeah.
do you think that in Indian condition this is okay or this is possible?
This is 100% okay. 100%. And I have shared my views with a few universities in our country. They are doing for last 10 years. Complete 10 years. But still I am visiting them and probing them. That is the only way we can strengthen fieldwork as well as research. There is no other way.
So one thing is that if you start employing intervention-based research, so we will strengthen our fieldwork.
Fieldwork automatically, it's a
It will
byproduct.
strengthen. So we can
Yeah,
strengthen
it
the
is a
fieldwork.
byproduct of intervention research. Your fieldwork will be very much strong, scientific.
So the faculty members are the social work educators. So we must be very choosy in selecting the agencies, particularly
Yeah,
in selecting
right.
the agencies for fieldwork.
Very right, yes.
So
very
maybe
right.
here there are some issues which are more
Ah.
related. We can say in few departments or few universities they
Ah.
may have 60-70 students.
Ah.
In few universities they may have around 10 to 20 colleges. But whatever may be the number,
Yeah.
but see that you will place your students in such a potential organizations.
Uh-huh.
Where first thing is that they have the chance to learn the
Yeah,
social work,
right.
they have the chance to practice or to practice the field work,
Yeah.
then so advancing themselves
Yeah.
to focusing more towards the intervention part of research.
That's right, that's right.
So you say that integrating field work, integrating research can be one of the best idea.
The best solution for all the problems which you are visualizing. You can see that within a year or two you will find that those problems are not at all existing.
Existing. Okay, so thank you very much. So this is regarding the post-graduation level.
Yeah.
So what can be the intervention for the scholars at PhD level?
PhD level, so there is simple. At postgraduate level, we advise our student to go for single intervention. So say only counseling. We say that your intervention is counseling. You use counseling and measure its effectiveness. Postgraduate level, we want them to have a combination of skills and intervention. So they have to make a package. So they will be using, say, number of skills. They'll be using one intervention or maybe two interventions, two methods. Then they will be having their practice models we have. You teach practice models. Then we also tell them that your research should be theory based also. So we have social work theories. So we tell the scholars, PhD scholars, that first you read the theory related to social work. Then you see that which theory explains your target subject. And then you link that theory and you are doing research, you will be at a higher level of research. This we don't expect in the PG level. PG level only we say that you should learn how to give intervention, how to measure intervention. So it could be counseling, it could be re-education. That's all. Awareness among the society about the child labor. So there should be one simple topic with simple intervention. So for awareness of the girl-child rights, there can be a campaigning using social work techniques. So one campaigning is enough for PG students. But for a PhD scholars, we go for multiple kind of skills. They should see which theory it applies, which model of practice. We have problem solving models, so many models are there. So those models, which model you are taking, so theory, model, then the skill, and then the intervention. All they have to see. postgraduate level.
And from to PhD level.
Yeah. Sorry, PhD level.
PhD level.
Yeah.
Okay.
PhD level, remember, your objective as a teacher is that you are training them to do social work intervention. Doctoral level, we are expecting them using social work intervention, you should bring the knowledge.
Yeah.
See the difference?
Yes.
Here it is a learning a process. So your concern is whether he has learned what is intervention, how it is used, what is pre-measurement, what is the post-measurement. If they have learned, you find, you give full marks. Postdoctoral level, process is not that important.
Doctoral level.
Yes. What is your thesis? How you are claiming that you have given some advanced knowledge for this. What is the effectiveness? In a very concrete way you have to show. You have to prove by using higher statistical test, and you say that my intervention is effective up to this extent. There is a distance. Difference.
Okay, so where can we place this intervention research? In inductive or deductive, or it can be applied in both inductive and deductive?
No, that is when you are in a qualitative, quantitative, then that paradigm.
Okay, good. Same time. So can we explain our students and faculty member what is qualitative school of research or what is quantitative school of research?
Yeah, that they must learn. I start my presentation with that only because that is the base of research. There are two paradigms all students must learn thoroughly. That is, one is what we call the positivistic approach. From where we have got this, deductive method we call it.
Mm-hmm.
That means you deduct. Theory is there. You believe that there is a theory, it explains the phenomena. So from the theory, you derive the hypothesis, collect data and prove it. It's called deductive method. And it comes from that positivistic model, paradigm. Then opposite to this is interpretive model, where they say that there is no theory which explains the phenomenon. So they start from there and then they have their research questions, and we call it inductive method. What is you observe, from there you derive and then you process. Put a research question. By observation you are saying this is a research question, then you go to the field, collect data and give. So this is the difference, deductive, and it's very important for all research students to learn. It's very basic. Yeah.
Okay, so that is about the belief of the student, or it is a philosophy of the research?
It's a philosophy of research.
It's a philosophy of research. So
or most exactly, if you want, it's a paradigm of research. Two paradigms we have.
What exactly situation demands now the contemporary problems? Which type of research you expect more?
I would put it the other way. Which problem you like it, which is very close to your heart. Now, based on that, we'll decide which paradigm we should use.
Okay.
It should be the other way around. So, as a researcher, you should see that which problem is very attractive and you feel that you can do excellent work. Then we'll find out which paradigm you should follow. It should be other way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is that whenever we teach, whenever we are near to the students about social work research, the basic, the foundations like deductive, inductive, the qualitative school, the quantitative school, and taking up the student from this place and making them to understand the real content or the real method. So in applying the domain or the core knowledge of social work, that becomes very important.
Yeah.
That's what you want to mention.
That's right. Yes.
And whenever we plan for social work intervention, can you just share your experience that how the other countries, earlier you mentioned about that, can you be specific about the intervention in other countries or the scope of intervention in India?
Yeah. In other countries, the very common thing you find among the research scholars is that they are very clear about and they have very deep knowledge and understanding of intervention. So a person is oriented to casework means he is only casework. And if you ask about a group work community organization, he will say, no, I don't know. So they are so much concentrated on knowledge. So when they think of the intervention, they think very high level of casework intervention. And their intervention package will be very complete. General social worker may not be able to understand that. So there it is very focused and they are specialists, you can say. They are casework specialists or individual working with individual specialists. Unlike ours. We are still saying that specialist in say HR or specialist in medical, specialist in like that. Okay, doesn't matter. So here we have our own philosophy. We say that country like India, our country, we should not be that Western oriented, very specific cases, because there it is flourishing because people have money. So for one problem, individual problem, they can spend $1,000. There is no every sitting social worker will charge. So it is thriving there. In India, we have not reached that stage. Here we have some problem which is spread in the community, and to solve that problem, that one method is not enough. So, like domestic violence, for example, we study, and for that we need even the family counseling we need. Just victim, you give counseling, you cannot expect that problem will be solved. So even sometimes the relatives also have to be given a group work session. Then only you can solve the tendency of future victims of domestic violence. That is the reason we cannot become like in specific like Western countries who are specialists in one like that. So here I think still we are in that. We are right. I think that we need this. Our approach is good, where we use the multi level intervention, multi level.
Okay. The other problem is that already in sense we may be from 1936, but still the required literature for the Indian context is not as expected.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we have moved from the domain, from there we moved from the other methods.
Yeah.
So then we made the literatures, particularly Indian origin literatures. So I feel that somewhere we have the crunch of developing literature about social work and particularly intervention based research.
Very right. Yeah, you are so absolutely correct. And here I think I think it's my personal view that we are more responsible than anybody else. Teachers, educators. As you go in the Western universities and all, it is a norm of the teaching fraternity norm, you can say, or it's a expectation, or it's a very basic expectation that you will contribute to the subject. You have no substitute. Unlike in India, you just wait. Somehow, number of papers you have, net pass, so assistant professor to associate and professor, and no work. Work maybe just to count the numbers and all, but the original work and all is just missing. And at the same time, you are also supposed to develop the literature. What subjects you are teaching? It is your bounden duty that you should contribute to that area. With your 10 years, 20 years, you just put it in as a document form. Whatever is your specialty. If that practice is implemented in universities, we will have abundant literature in social work. It has not been done so far.
Yes.
We just say that my teaching and my work is over.
Yes.
And at the most, supervision of the PhD is enough. No. It should go simultaneously, and every teacher is expected to give a literature, contribute to your field, at least 1, 2, 3 in your career.
Okay, so the thing is that sir has fixed the responsibility of a teacher, a particular educator, that if you are going to be declared yourself as social work educator, see that you will also contribute in presenting the original literature. When it is intervention, that absolutely becomes original literature.
Yes.
So that is the strength of intervention research.
Yes.
That's the strength of intervention research.
Yeah, very right.
Yeah. So our appeal is that whenever we discuss with this particular point, the teachers must also be sensible in developing or designing or contributing the original content of research.
Yes.
So then there will not be any question of plagiarism. So even we present papers that is be more conceptual type of papers, and these conceptual will only be conceptual reviews that cannot create any knowledge. That's about just rereading the knowledge. That's what I.
That's very true.
Sir, so one more clarity, what I expect from you is that our teaching social work research paper is different than teaching theoretical papers of social work.
I think I have mentioned already. Again, I will repeat, it's a very important question for all of us, that you have to take it seriously that social work research is a theory paper but skill oriented paper, where your objective is to generate skills. Your student must learn a skill. That is only possible if you have practicals with the paper. You cannot teach it as other theory papers. So you have to teach one topic and then you have to have a practical session. Either you give assignment or you have a group work group sessions or a small workshop. So the topic you select, give to the group, ask them to do it in the class. Then only we can achieve this goal.
Cool.
Yeah. So you have to teach in a different way.
Yes.
That's
So,
very important.
yeah, hand-in-hand teaching, particularly relating the knowledge of social work, practice, particularly fieldwork point of view, and then differentiating between the teaching theory of social work and the research.
Research.
So, skilling ourselves is very important.
Very
in this
important.
particular
Focus should be on development of skills.
skills, particularly of teacher and also of a student.
That's very true.
So, friends, this is about the social work intervention research. Sir has very clearly highlighted the role of a teacher, role of a student, role of a scholar. From all three degrees, he has surprised that our social work intervention research is the contemporary focus, what we need to be.
Yeah.
This is what we want to feel. And friends, as you know that, as repeatedly I share with my students that from Indian point of view, research has become the most compromised component. That Indian research are not going back to the community, right? Maybe from agriculture or agriculture, animal husbandry, commerce and management, anywhere. So very less we have the implementation or the outcome-based literature what we feel.
Very good.
So in that point of view, sir, what is your suggestion for our upcoming scholars, the present PhD scholars, that how they can make use of the social work intervention research?
Yeah. Number one is that habit is to be cultured now. You know that reading books and journals. That is the one message and only one message I can say, that you have to see that your research scholars refer the journals, which is coming particularly in developed country researches. So that is the first thing you have to inculcate that. It's a missing today. Google is okay, a good tool for collecting the informations, but they must also see the basic books on research, original books of research. So that is the culture today is missing. So your role as a teacher, one is that see that how they can visit library, number one, and see the journals. For example, there is one journal, Social Work Research Abstract. It's a wonderful journal. If your research scholar read that, they can develop a research review excellent way, because they will know the whole world, what is going on in the whole world in social work research. So that's the one. Then say Rubin and Baby is one book which is almost everywhere in the world research students follow social work, the methods of researching for social workers. So as a teacher, this you take as a compulsory duty. When the scholar comes to you, say that, have you read this book? Today you go, take and read and tell me what are the contents. I want to know. Like, have you read one research journal, International Journal of Social Work, or any other journals related to social work, casework? There are journals. So this is now missing in the present generation. This is the message I'm giving, and I hope you will convince. You will be agree. You will agree with me that if you pass it on and see it is effective, I can assure you from experience that the research quality will go up, along with what we have discussed in this sessions. All those things. Yeah.
And that is the passion of a researcher.
Yes.
That it should be
Evolution,
intervention.
yes.
And one more doubt what I got during this discussion is that,
Yeah.
so can we think of having integrated interventions, maybe by in doing research? Maybe we have some departments or some specialization.
No. I think
Biotechnology, microbiology.
no, interdisciplinary researches are
Integrated
there.
interdisciplinary,
Yeah,
integrated
it is there,
intervention.
but today the time is to concentrate on our social work interventions. Let our people be trained, familiar. Then it may come situation when we can have interdisciplinary intervention research.
Okay.
Interdisciplinary. For example, you are dealing with cancer patients. So our interventions will be there. Then also we can invite medical personnel, or we can invite psychiatric social workers, and then we can have a joint multidisciplinary intervention. So then we measure all this intervention separately.
Okay, so
That
the
is
thing
the
is that,
future.
yes, that is very clear that. So no more in the sense, no integrated intervention, right, Billy?
No.
Because the philosophy of intervention clearly, or the philosophy of social work research clearly says that to promote the knowledge, to create the new knowledge.
Yeah.
So we are practicing the social work research, practicing the social work knowledge.
Yeah.
We can start intervention. Then it can be integrated intervention.
Yeah.
So our next discussion will be on integrated intervention. That
Yes.
how integrated intervention can be a part of social work research.
Yes.
Maybe next talk we will be having with sir is about
Yes.
integrated intervention. So we can have more openings. As I told you that neuro-oncology,
Yes.
neuropsychiatry, brain studies, suicide.
Yeah.
So like that, along with this, how can we have integrated intervention?
Yeah.
So with the end by beginning, the integrated intervention will be our next talk. So with these friends, so this is the message given by Professor Laldas.
Yeah.
So we have come all the way from Hyderabad to have a wonderful time with our students and particularly igniting the young minds about social work intervention research. Maybe this 1 hour will be the beautiful hour for you to watch this video and to understand what exactly social work intervention research and the basic philosophy as mentioned about the social work research. Maybe this video will be helpful for the teachers, students, and even how the NGOs, medical and psychiatric settings or interested people can think of having intervention research. That means practitioners can also use this particular module.
That's right.
So like that, from all the angle, from students' point of view, from researcher point of view, from teacher point of view, from practitioner point of view, social work intervention has become the order of the day. So let us see that how best you are going to make use of this video. Sir, we are very grateful to have you and your precious time.
Thank you.
And we happily appreciate your moment of taking the social work intervention as the agenda at the international level. So let us all join our hands with Professor Laldas, making this as a good moment in India. So with this friends, so on behalf of you who are going to watch this video and from my university, Tumkur University, and from the fraternity of social workers, let us thank Professor Laldas for his precious time. And anyhow, we can contact Professor Laldas and even me, our Department of Social Work, Tumkur University. That can be the best part of your discussion. Once again, wish you all the very best and thank you very much. Namaskar.